Hello. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you. I, Lara Farat, on behalf of Institute of Regional Studies, welcome you all to this important day, a seminar which is dedicated to the January 20 martyrs of Azerbaijan on the subject matter of a bloody and glorious page of Azerbaijan's history. We would like to thank you for all joining us today. We appreciate and we really value your time. We would begin with the recitation of Holy Quran.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
Jazakallah. Now, I would like to request all of you to please stand up in the respect of national anthems of Azerbaijan and Pakistan. Thank you so much, everyone. Before we begin with the proceedings of the event, I would like to brief my audience with the little history and a little pre-context of what is this day all about. On January 20, 1990, Soviet troops attacked Baku and some other regions of Azerbaijan in order to suppress the independence movement in the capital and across the country. Altogether, more than 147 Azerbaijani civilians were killed and 744 were seriously wounded. That included the elderly, women, children, and even medical personnel. That day proved to be a turning point in the national history of Azerbaijan. The massacre did not alter the will of people of Azerbaijan towards independence, despite being subjected to military, political, and moral aggression. Azerbaijani national movement succeeded to stand against the Soviet challenge, and Soviet troops eventually had to withdraw from Baku, subsequently leading to Azerbaijan declaring its independence on October 18, 1991. Before we begin with the event, I would like to request Mr. Ahmad to please play the short documentary on January 20. That was indeed heart-wrenching. Now I would request you all to please observe a moment of silence for for all the martyrs of 20th January. Thank you so much, everyone. Now, I would like to request Ambassador Nadeem Riaz, who's the president of Institute of Regional Studies, to please come on the stage and open for his opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and a good afternoon to everyone. Right at the very outset, I would like to welcome the Ambassador of Azerbaijan, Mr. Khazar Faridov, and his lady wife to the Institute of Regional Studies at today's event. Thank you very much, Excellency, for being with us. The ambassador has been in Pakistan for only 5 months, and during this short period, he has visited, apart from Islamabad, where he's based, Murree, and a few other places, and he will be shortly going to the city of Karachi. Pakistan and Azerbaijan have a very strong relationship. It's a relationship which strengthened right from the very inception of Azerbaijan as an independent country. Maybe you know that Pakistan was the second country after Turkey to give recognition to the independence of Azerbaijan in 1991. We have an embassy in Baku. Azerbaijan over the years has really become an important country in the comity of nations. If as young students, you go and look at the pictures of Azerbaijan in 1992, and if you look at the pictures of Azerbaijan now, you will see the difference. What the country has done in the field of economy, in improving its ties with the other countries of the world, in culture, and in tourism. We have a strong relationship with Azerbaijan. They have always supported us on the issue of Jammu and Kashmir. And we have always supported Azerbaijan on the issue of Nagorno-Karabakh. Our relation with this country is strong. Bilateral trade between the two countries is in excess of $10 million, but this is not enough. There is a lot of room for improving our relationship in the field of economy, in the field of culture, and in tourism. The two countries support each other on many international forums and on key issues of importance to each other. We have a strong relationship with your country, Excellency, and we hope that during your tenure in Pakistan, you will positively contribute to enhancing this relationship further. Young minds like the ones I see in this room are always inquisitive. So please feel free to direct any queries or questions which you have on Azerbaijan to the Honorable Ambassador. But please be brief in your questions so that he can answer the queries which you have. You all saw the video. It's a sad video. You see, because it's very unfortunate that when you look at the birth of nations, you find that people have given sacrifices. There is bloodshed. People are killed. Innocent women and children are killed. Then what happens? A country starts making progress. It faces challenges, it overcomes those challenges. But I think the most important thing is that we should never forget the sacrifices which our forefathers made. Both countries, Pakistan and Azerbaijan, had a bloody birth. We lost a lot of people when we became independent in 1947. And Excellency, your country also spilled a lot of blood when you became independent in 1991. So history is something which we should not forget. And if there is an important message which we take away, it is that you always remember your history and you learn from it. You benefit from the experience of history to ensure that your freedom is always guaranteed. Freedom is something which only those know who don't have it. We who live in a free environment at times don't know the cost of freedom. It's an honor for our guests from Azerbaijan to be here in our midst. Please give them a big hand of applause. And we look forward to a very healthy and a strong relationship between Pakistan and Azerbaijan in the years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nadeem Riaz. Now I would like to call upon stage Dr. Tariq Wahid, who is the head of Social Sciences Department in Zabist University. Please come on the stage.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Nadeem, with whom I have a platonic relationship. And he has illustrated the relationship between Azerbaijan and Pakistan exhaustively. He has also emphasized the relationship not only in terms of diplomacy, but also in terms of historical reference. Because the struggle of Pakistan in many ways corresponds with the freedom struggle of Azerbaijan. So that further strengthens our relationship. However, I am here to particularly welcome the ambassador of Azerbaijan Republic. The other day, I was going through a book which has mentioned the characteristics of a diplomat. That he should be well versed with Plato and Aristotle. He should be a geographer as well as historian. He should be a writer. He should be a poet. He should be a musician. He must know the languages, as many as he could grasp, including French, Greek, English, all the languages, particularly the local languages where he is chosen to represent his country. Well, I have the privilege to go through the distinguished and distinctive, contribution of the Excellency. I have found the semblance of your career with all those characteristics which have been defined by the classical writers on diplomacy. Uh, Excellency had an excellent education. He has studied management sciences from one of the internationally reputed universities, Gazi University, Republic of Turkey. He has also studied international relations, international law from the Baku University. He brings to his credit a long, rich experience. From 1997-98, he was a consultant for the Organization of Islamic Conference. He also remained consultant attaché in the Department of Asia, Africa, Latin America countries, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Republic of Azerbaijan. Second Secretary, Counselor, Kingdom to Saudi Arabia. Excellency, after having been through all the grades of the service, reached the top position of ambassadorship. And that's why he has been graciously chosen by the President of Republic of Azerbaijan, Excellency Ilham. Well, with these words, I, Excellency, welcome you on behalf of the Zahbest. Zahbest is a is a university in private sectors that has been established by the First Lady Prime Minister of Pakistan, rather one of the first Lady Prime Ministers of Islamic world, one of the first Lady Prime Ministers of the world. She established this university after the name of Shahid Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, who is known for his statesmanship all over the world. And he was one of those who piloted and pleaded the cause of all freedom-loving nations. And his contribution was also acknowledged by the then freedom fighter Nelson Mandela. Because I remember when Nelson Mandela visited your neighboring institute, during his course, he particularly referred to the contribution of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto for the cause of freedom. Zahbest is a university which offers, disciplines of management sciences, media sciences, computer sciences, and also social sciences, which includes development studies as well as diploma. We are fortunate enough to have, Mr. Parvez Khan Khusro to be amongst us, and he is currently presiding over the Zahbest. Mr. Khusro brings to his credit a long experience of civil service. He has served very, very important positions in the bureaucracy of federal government of Pakistan. With all his abilities, he is now currently presiding over the institution, which is Zahbest. Excellency, with these words, I take leave, and over to you to please continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Tariq Waheed. As he has already mentioned, our next speaker is Mr. Khusro Parvez Khan, who is the head of campus of Zahbest University, Islamabad. I would please request you to come on the stage for the address.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. His Excellency Ambassador Mr. Khazar Faradov, Ambassador Nadeem Riaz, President of Institute of Regional Studies Islamabad, dignitaries, faculty, and my dear students. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. In fact, Ambassador Nadeem, we are very, very grateful that on a very short notice, you allowed us to hold this ceremony here and to have this seminar here. And we are equally grateful to you, Your Excellency, because we were supposed to meet last week, but due to COVID, this was postponed and it was scheduled today. We are really grateful for both of you for taking out the time and for arranging this seminar. Ambassador Nadeem has reflected upon this 20th of January as a day of sacrifice and a struggle. Your Excellency, Pakistan is still passing through very, very crucial times. And I remember the day after 9/11 when we entered into this war on terrorism. We lost more than 80,000 lives during this whole period. Big number. We suffered a lot. So there are certain experiences, as I rightly pointed out, that the nations learn from those experiences. And they become mature, they address those challenges in a more amenable way, in a very democratic way. And we are happy to see that Azerbaijan, mashallah, after its independence, on the Committee of Nations is now recognized as one of the very, very modern state with a middle income level group of people. And the best thing about when I was going through the profiles and the country is your literacy rate. It's amazing. It's almost 100%. I mean, this is something which is very, very amazing. We are still struggling to achieve this, but Azerbaijan did it and did it with a finesse. Once again, on behalf of the Zabas University and its administration and management and students, we are really grateful that you are here and we want to listen to you about this day also and overall about the Azerbaijan and Pakistan's relationship. And as Ambassador Nadeem has said to the students, please do ask the questions, I mean, from the ambassador, whatever you feel is related, but be brief in your discourse. Thank you very much once again. Bahut bahut shukriya. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Khusro Pervez Khan. We had the privilege to listen to Pakistani perspective, and I would like to request His Excellency Mr. Khazar Farhadov, who is the Ambassador of the Republic of Azerbaijan to Pakistan, to share an Azerbaijan's perspective on the issue and the day 20th January. Please on the stage.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I would like to extend my thanks to Mr. Khusro Parvaz Khan, Head of Campus Zabist Islamabad, for organizing this event and having this venue, wonderful venue, Mr. Ambassador Nadeem Riaz, President of Institute of Regional Studies Islamabad, our previous speaker, ladies and gentlemen, dear students, dear media representatives, very good afternoon. I am very happy to be with you today because we always felt the strong support of Pakistan people, government, army, towards Azerbaijan's sensitive issues in crucial moments of our history. And tomorrow we are in Azerbaijan. We'll commemorate this January 20 Martyrs Day, which we call also Black January. Why it is so important that we are annually, holding these events worldwide through our embassies and in our country, in nationwide, because it is the first step towards our second independence in the last century. First independence Azerbaijan had in the 1918, being the first republic in the history all of East world. I would like once again reiterate that Azerbaijan was the first Muslim republic in the world history. After 2 years, we were invaded by the Soviet Union at that time and forcibly drawn into the Soviet Union as a Soviet republic. But after 70 years, my people, people of Azerbaijan, struggled, fought for its independence once again. And one of the biggest hard day that we lived through, it was January 20. What was the reasons of all these atrocities happened to my people? During the last years of Soviet Union, approximately 1987, the Armenian side, with its diaspora support and with leadership of Soviet Union, tried to join the Nagorno-Karabakh region to Armenia, which was historically Azerbaijan territory, and even the name of Karabakh is Turkish name. That's a composition of two words. Kara means black or plenty, and Bakh means garden. It was always historically Azerbaijan territories. Before this day, and having seen my people that what's going on, trying to occupy these territories under the, false legal claims against Azerbaijanis, people came to the street to protest it. And to suppress this protest, Soviet Union leadership sent armed forces to attack my capital city, Baku city, and commit these massacres. They thought maybe they can threaten us, and they can take us from the way of independence, but they failed because Azerbaijan was indigenous people of this region, of this statehood. As I said, the first republic in the Muslim world was created by Azerbaijanis. And but nothing changed. This changed nothing much. And after just 1 year and a half, we get our independence from Soviet Union. That's why we are always thankful, grateful to those that sacrificed their lives for the name of independence of the country under such a superpower. That's our obligation to commemorate our memories, this soil of the martyrs, which almost 147 people. It includes childs, women, old men, and approximately almost 744 people get injured, and around 900 people get arrested after these events. It was preceded also deportation of Azerbaijanis from their historical lands from today's Armenia. It was approximately last deportation, number of last deportation was 200,000. Can you imagine in a couple of years, such an amount of people, huge number of people, just forced to deport from their homelands, from Armenia to Azerbaijan, because today's Armenia also historically was Azerbaijan territories, Azerbaijan Khans. Even today's Yerevan once was Yerevan Khanate, who ruled by Azerbaijani rulers. And having special demographic policy deporting Azerbaijanis starting from the creation of Soviet Union made Armenia be successful in ethnic cleansing against Azerbaijanis, which continued also during this Karabakh War, which started in the beginning of 90s till the 94. During that time, even the people living inside Azerbaijan, today's Azerbaijan, also forced to become international displaced persons or refugees. And altogether, people deported from Azerbaijan, altogether, it amounted to around 1 million people out of, at that time, 7 million of all population of Azerbaijan. At the result of this occupation, we lost our territories. I mean, it was get under occupation by Armenia with their supporters from around the world, especially their diaspora and this countries their diaspora living. 20% of territories were occupied, and 1 people out of 1 million of 7 million became refugees, IDPs, and was a huge burden. And plus our position as a landlocked country, there was huge challenges in front of us. But the blood of these martyrs, January martyrs, blood of the first Karabakh martyrs, we cannot never forget about it. And we set in front of us aims under the leadership of our national leader of Azerbaijan and today's president. We achieved and investing billions of US dollars in the infrastructure of energy, transport. We became today one of the prosperous countries of the region of South Caucasus, where we are locating. And today, 80% of all GDP of the South Caucasus belongs to Azerbaijan. And my people's population increased from 7 million till now in the 30 years to 10 million. It's almost 45% of increasement. But when you look at the occupiers of Armenia, because of this stand that they tried to keep under occupation all 20%, which they failed in 2020 when the patriotic war, the population of Armenia decreased from the 2 million to 1 million because of their policy that they followed all these years, made them isolated, especially by Azerbaijan and Turkey, until they will end the occupation. We tried all these 30 years to bring Armenia to the table of negotiations, to solve this issue, to end this occupation by peaceful way, but they didn't want it. And relying on their supporters, they thought they can eternally keep all these territories under occupation. And they didn't want to change status quo. And they didn't want to let this around 1 million people to return their homeland. Unfortunately, I didn't bring some pictures from the occupied territories today, but next time I hope we will have another meetings regarding on these topics. I will bring what was happening to all these territories during the 30 years. Can you imagine just foreign journalists? One of the districts of the occupied territories, now we all liberated, going there, seeing this atrocity, what they did, the buildings themselves. Even they raised all buildings, all settlements to the ground. And it became saying among the journalists, the foreign journalists, Agdam, they called Agdam Hiroshima of South Caucasus because of the volume of this destruction. And besides that, they tried to insult us, our Islamic values, to demolishing mosques and keeping some preserved mosques as a pig barns. What kind of civilization they are trying to represent? What kind of rights they are trying to claim? If you are not even spare these mosques. And Alhamdulillah, 2020, in just 44 days, we won the war, regained back our territories, but we have another challenges right now in front of us, because all these occupied territories planted with mines against people, against man mines. The amount of these mines around is 1 million. It will take some time to demine all these things, to provide security. In this sphere, we are keen to work with Pakistani appropriate institutions, companies, to rebuild all these territories, and also to bring our peoples back there. It will take some time. And they raised all these almost around 15,000 square kilometers area to the ground. That area served as a life place, settlement for the 1 million people. Once we have to rebuild it once again. But carrying out successful foreign policy, being supported by such a brother countries, Pakistan and Turkey, we achieved a lot. In terms of political relations, we have very brilliant, very highest relations, level relations with Pakistan. And time came, we have to look into the economic relations with Pakistan. And I hope that students, you are the future of the Pakistan. Keeping this exchange of informations, keeping contacts, creating some opportunities for cooperation among our universities, we can carry out this brotherhood, friendship to the next generations, to the more coming centuries. Because historically, we was in good contacts, in good relations. Just one example I can just bring. In South Caucasus, only place where in Baku, we have Multan Caravanserai. Yes, it is our old city, inner city. It was at that time built for the pilgrimages, for the visitors, for the traders from Multan side of the subcontinent. And we keep it, we preserve it as a sign of our brotherhood. What I would like to say, if we have common history, that means we will achieve also in our common successful future. And right now we're taking some real steps for the name of this aim. Just one of them I can bring as an example, trilateral format of cooperation, which we have among Turkey, Azerbaijan, and Pakistan, which started in 1917 at the level of this foreign ministers. Till now, we had 2 meetings of this at the level of ministers. And last year, we had first ever trilateral meeting of speakers of 3 parliaments. And even they visited liberated areas and spent one night in the liberated Shusha city, capital, cultural capital of Azerbaijan, which also served as the place of Karabakh Khan at that time, during the night. that's I wanted to go. I went just a little bit history that we witnessed towards today independence. Of course, the 20th of January one was of the most important of this way that we went through. And as I mentioned, our national leader, which with the request of the kind request and demand of people, came once again to power and created all this base that we are availing right now as a prosperous country. The first assessment, political and legal assessment to this atrocity, to this massacre, was loaded by national leader, even the time of Soviet Union. When it was happened, he was at that time retired, and he came to the office of Azerbaijan in Moscow. He extended his protest, and he asked those get punished, including at that time leader of Soviet Union, Gorbachev, because all was had been done under his orders, instructions, direct orders. For these atrocities, Minister of Interior of Soviet Union, Minister of Defense of Soviet Union personally came to Baku to carry out these all massacres. And after getting independence in 1994 in our parliament, we created a commission to give its assessment to these massacres, and they created this day as a national observance of this massacre, with visiting this our martyrs' grave. That's I didn't go through my speech. I tried to be more informative, more frank, sincere, explaining all this, trying to attract your attention to all those what happened, try to make you capable to follow up, at least even in brief, what was history we went through, why this happened to us. That's my brief introduction, speech about Azerbaijan history and the place of this Black January's importance in our history. And I am very grateful once again to be with you here to share, and I would like to thank you that you came to here to share with us our grave in this important day. And I would like to be very open to our bright students. I would like, if you have any questions, if you have an interest, I can, answer, try my best to answer.
Onun için cevaplar siz sual yağmurunu tutup davet edilen çok nasıl sormak.
Okay.
Thank you so much, His Excellency Mr. Khazar Farhado. Thank you for shedding light on this important subject, but we would like to hear more from you, and thus we've opened the floor for question and answers, which would be moderated by President, Institute of Regional Studies, Mr. Nadeem Riaz. If anyone has any questions, the floor is open.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, for being here, and our condolences with the families who were killed, the martyrs. Uh, my question would be brief, and as Honorable Ambassador Nadeem Riaz rightly quoted, that Pakistan and Azerbaijan have the maritime trade or total trade, I guess that is around $10 million. In the scenario, in the era where there are strategic interoperability frameworks working, how do you see maritime trade with Pakistan? Since I myself, been the former faculty member at National Defense, and I'm also a lawyer with specialization in maritime field. So my question is, with India, Azerbaijan shares $922 million of maritime trade. How do you say enhancing the maritime trade and cooperation with Pakistan? Because as Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi said, that wound is the place where light enters the body. So in the whole scenario of talking about the grievances, how do you say taking Azerbaijan and Pakistan forward? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for very much for. I will try to answer to your question because it is one of my duty to increase these economic relations between our two countries, which we were so late. Regarding your exact question regarding maritime trade, I cannot see right now anything more because much more because we have another, alternatives regarding to maritime. But it's one of the way that we can trade. It's one of the good way that we are trading with other countries. We have to work on it also because it is cheaper comparing to other way of trading. And we also are working on connect us through Iran, Turkey, Azerbaijan, also from Central Asia. Theoretically, we have right now workable two routes on the ground, on the land. One is that from Iran, from Taftan, from your side, Iran, and from Astara, the border side between us and Iran, enter. 2 months before, your NLC company, logistic company, tested this route, and they sent 2 tracks under the tier agreement, and they reached from your border to our border with Iran just in 8 days. It was successful test, and it was successful consignment, and so we will work on it, hope to increase the value, and also we also open this maritime trade. But it just only issue is that maritime takes much time, almost 1 month because of its route. That's answer my question. And the second part of your question, what we are planning to do in the name of this increasing, we rely on joint commission meetings between our two countries, which are co-chaired by both sides from defense industry ministries. That's my taking into account that maybe somebody would like to ask more questions. I will answer the question. If you want, I can back to them in details to inform you this. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. So I'm a student of Peace and Conflict Studies. Thank you, sir. So I have a question that, as we all know, freedom has no cost and other quality, but still, if I ask, did USSR give Azerbaijan anything positive which is still useful, like in subcontinent, Britishers gave us a built-up railway network? Thank you, sir. Sir, anything like USSR gave Azerbaijan which is positive, like any infrastructure or any other thing?
Taken into account history of Azerbaijan, another important thing from the point of view this economic prosperity of the region. Azerbaijan, Baku, my capital city, was the place first place in the world in the middle of this 19th century, producing oil industrial waste. First time in the world. Why I'm saying this? Even oil from Siberia, our scholars, specialists, from Azerbaijan, had a great efforts for the exploring these reserves for the Soviet Union at that time. What I would like to say, if you just see and if you compare the time Azerbaijan before the Soviet Union and looking at into the economic situation at that time of the people of Azerbaijan, you will see Azerbaijan contributed much more to the Soviet Union than get back from the Soviet Union. Even this Second World War time, almost 80% of tanks and another artillery equipments of or weaponaries, equipment, machineries of Soviet Union filled by Azerbaijan oil. That was our contribution. But now we are contributing to ourselves. I mean, Azerbaijan has thousands of years of statehood history, and we forcibly, included to the Soviet Union. That's why it shows who benefited from who. That's my answer, diplomatic way. Uh, uh, I will say just first phrase just came to my mind immediately is brotherhood. I will bring some examples from our history, proven brotherhood. Last day, my president opened one of prominent monument dedicated to one of the prominent philanthropists from Azerbaijan. He lived during the Tsar Russia, and he himself sent 300,000 vaccine ampoules to subcontinent Muslims during the Tsar Russia. You can go, the history, and then you can search it out. Because at that time we in North Pakistan Muslims, subcontinent Muslims, and North Azerbaijan was independent, very independent. But the people-to-people brotherhood sentiments made us to be with you even at that hard times. They from us it was sent free of charge. For this time it was huge number, 300,000 ampoules for vaccine for these times. And the second one, an example of modern time of Azerbaijan, I will say you, when we liberated our territories, my president said always that we just implemented the Security Council resolutions, United Nations Security Council resolutions, because in 1993, United Nations Security Council adopted 4 resolutions demanding Armenian troops withdraw these occupied territories without unconditional and immediately. The first of this resolution was adopted under the chairmanship and support and initiative of Pakistani permanent representative in the United Nations. That's the examples that I am giving to you. And the trilateral example of brotherhood, I will say, during the last patriotic war, only Turkey and Pakistan openly demonstrated and lauded at the level of the government, people, military, all the 2 countries, their support, unconditional support, and their stand with Azerbaijan in this our just patriotic war. It was our hard time. Yeah. That's why we call our friendship, brotherhood, all-weather, with all-weather characteristics. And Azerbaijan is one of the 5 countries being represented in the contact group of Kashmir in the OIC.
From Pakistan Economic Forum. My question is Azerbaijan is rich in petroleum and oil and gas. So it is planning to build its LNG because Pakistan is having shortfall in LNG. So you thinking that there is some prospects of trade in LNG field between Pakistan and Azerbaijan?
Yes, well, important question, because when we're talking about our economic relations, we take into account our export potentials and import potentials, both countries. For example, last 4 years, Azerbaijan provided LNG to Pakistan. I think last time it was cheapest price in the history of the Pakistan. And we are keen continue in this sphere. It is just a matter of negotiation between two companies who are dealing with provision LNG and buying it. And from our SOCAR, state oil company of Azerbaijan, which is very prominent, well-known company, which contributed to our own economy also, which had invested billions of dollars in Turkey. I think we will see, inshallah, the same economic relations which we have with Turkey, and Pakistan and Turkey, Azerbaijan and Turkey, same in terms of Pakistan and Azerbaijan. That is our one of aim to work in the energy sector. That's why we created last year, just last December, special joint working group in energy sector under this joint commission. When Honorable Madam Zubaydah Jalal visited Azerbaijan to attend and co-chair this joint commission, we had very huge plans in the name of this trade and investment in both countries. I think we will achieve with the support from both sides.
Thank you, Excellency, for gracing the occasion. Allow me first to appreciate the Azerbaijani people for the grace with which they recovered from their bloody past. My question is related to Nagorno-Karabakh region and the current situation there and the recent bloodshed we all saw. I would like to know, the first part of my question would be addressed to Head of Campus, Mr. Khusro Pervez, and I would like to know, given the significant economic prospects of Azerbaijan and its hydrocarbon reserves and a very strong economic potential for future, wouldn't it favor all the partners to put a permanent tab on the Nagorno-Karabakh and come towards a permanent peaceful solution? What role could Pakistan play in this regard? As Azerbaijan is part of the Kashmir solution, can we be playing on similar grounds or not? And secondly, Excellency, would you like to share with us if Azerbaijan is satisfied with the role that international superpowers played on Nagorno-Karabakh? Are you satisfied with the Russian performance especially? Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is well-prepared questions. I highly appreciate your efforts. And I will explain in just some 2 words, trying to answer to your questions, which we can do publicly. The first thing is Pakistan and Azerbaijan stance regarding this both, issues. Karabakh issue, which is already solved, which we said it left in the past. We are not mentioning right now Karabakh as an issue because we restored our territorial integrity and we solved everything in 2 ways, militarily and politically way. I will explain why we are saying in 2 ways. And why Pakistan and Azerbaijan always supported each other in these 2 issues. Not just, it is of course, it is brotherhood is the most important. But second also, not less, but also most important thing is that both countries' positions based on international law norms. Because in our case, as my president said, I'm reiterating once again, we implemented United Nations Security Council resolution, nothing more. And our position regarding the Kashmir also we support solving the Kashmir issue per United Nations Security Council resolutions. That is why we are right now in the contact group of Kashmir. That's why we are with the Pakistan. And regarding the, did we satisfied, it could be very naive to say that any country can be satisfied by others' positions, especially superpowers. Because if 30 years this conflict, which must be solved per United Nations Security Council resolutions, didn't solved, wasn't solved, and there was any pressure by these leading powers of the world towards the Armenia to withdraw from these territories. For some cases, United Nations Security Council resolutions carried out in 1 hour, 2 hours, even 1 day, 2 days. But in my country's case, it lasted 30 years. That's why we were forced to implement it ourselves. That's why we are only relying on the support of our own people and the people, government, and military of our own and our brother countries. That's my questions, not, stressing any name of the countries. Yes. We will follow like that because independence itself means you have to rely on yourself. You have to be on your own to achieving these achievements. And the second one, why I'm saying this military and political way, the solution of this conflict, we liberated in 44 days almost 700 settlements. When we captured, gained back the Shusha city, capital city of Karabakh, which is the highest point geographically of this land, also a very strategic point. The Armenian Prime Minister signed Capitulation Act. It was trilateral statement among Azerbaijan, Russian president, and the Prime Minister of Armenia. And the date of from 9 November to 10th of November. They obliged to withdraw the other territories themselves voluntarily, and they withdrew on it. And today, as we said always, there is some Armenians, around 20,000 Armenians, living in Karabakh, which we always considered them as our citizens. And we let them live there, and we would like to them to live because we didn't never in our history any ethnic cleansing. The Armenia, only one country in that region with monoethnicity. There's no other ethnics living in Armenia. That's why we call Azerbaijan a multi-civilized country, multicultural country, because it is civilization, diversification is the one sign of statehood, historical statehood. Because civilization can attract other ethnicities, can bring together other ethnicities. That's why we are following this way, and we solve this issue. And from now on, we don't want to be rely on other supports. We can cooperate, especially with our brother countries. And during that time, Turkey and Pakistan, I would like to stress it, supported Azerbaijan morally and politically.
Thank you very much, His Excellency. Let me share now the Pakistani perspective. Pakistan always goes for a peaceful resolution of all the conflicts. It's the history of Pakistan. May it be Kashmir, may it be Nagorno-Karabakh, may it be Palestine, may it be Rohingyas, any such issue. And this is not only the resolutions and the words and the process and the Security Council. We also prove it by our deeds. We are the part of that peacekeeping missions where we have taken on dozens of occasions contributed towards those peacekeeping missions in Africa and other countries where wherever it is the requirement of the world community. So being Pakistan, being the seventh nuclear state, behaves very, very peacefully and very responsibly to these challenges. Challenges are there. You know, right now, the biggest challenge of this region, that is the Afghan situation, is right on our doorstep, where the people are suffering from hunger, from malaise, and from the boycott of the international community. But Pakistan is, very responsibly playing its role and trying to actually lift the people out of this situation. So this is how Pakistan is contributing on diplomatic side, on the military side, on the civil side, on the relationship with the countries. And Pakistan believes, and I mean, look at the Kashmir, another issue. For last these issues at the United Nations platform. Not only this, the wave of Islamophobia, which was there in the whole of the world, and Pakistan leadership was one. And I must congratulate on this occasion and appreciate the role of our Foreign Office, that they raised it on all the platforms, and they made the people aware and the world leadership aware of this, that it is, I mean, anything bad goes for a person, they are being tagged by the Islamophobia. And if you see the recent event in Texas, where one of the person was killed, he had a British origin, but they are now labeling it with Pakistan. Now this is how I mean, there is a bashing going on, but as I said, we as a responsible nation stand up to these challenges. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a very informative session where the ambassador of Azerbaijan was able to tell all of us about the history of his country, about what the country has done to make progress, and how he views various things in the international arena. But we have come to the end of time. In fact, we have overshot the time. So over to you, Larib.
Thank you so much for such an interactive session. I hope that was very informative for all of you. Now, the last speaker, the vote of thanks by Dr. Abdul Razak Rashi, is Assistant Professor at Zabist University. I would like to request you to please come on the stage for your vote of thanks.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I would like to thank Ambassador Nadeem Riasa, President of Institute of Regional Studies, Mr. Khosrow Parvez Khan Sahab, Head of Campus, Zabist Islamabad, His Excellency Mr. Hazar Ferdov, Chief Guest, Ambassador of Republic of Azerbaijan to Pakistan, audience, students, for gracing this occasion. Pakistan and Azerbaijan have very strong strategic and brotherly relations. Our sorrows and happiness are shared. Pakistan and Azerbaijan have collaboration in every segment of life. The cooperation between think tank and universities is very important, and had a great honor to organize a joint event on this important day. It is just a start. We do such type of activities on much more bigger level when this COVID situation is over. Change the venue and do it. Due to some COVID cases at Zabist campus Islamabad, but all credit goes to Mr. Zaman Bajwa. He handled this situation very well and talked to administration of IRC and made this event possible. As institution, this thing is very satisfactory that the graduates of the department are contributing in development of the society. Once again, I thank you all. Thank you.